to make a record. Show my appreciation for everybody that plays my music, listen to my music. If my music ever helped you get through any situation at all, I wanted to make a song and dedicate it especially to you. You did. Midas. Cheers. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. So I'm taking a moment to say thank you. Thank you. If the shoe fits, you better wear it well. Wear it well. This is real talk, I ain't trying to prank you. Cause I need that wind up in myself. I won't stop, they can't make me. Some of them will probably hate me. Can only go far as you take me. If you ever supported my dreams, or ever supported me any at all, we about to get all this cream. Many will come and many will fall. Yeah. All of you is who I do this for. Came front of my sauce, come back for more. The recipe we constantly tweaking. I mastered the class of publicly speaking. For showing me love, I'm showing love back. I need a gift card and a gift bag to go with this track. Only 6 degrees, keep it separated. Tell my parents that I made it. Cause you're all so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated. Dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. You're so dedicated.
Yeah, you're so dedicated. So I dedicate this song to you. Hot off the presses, ladies and gentlemen. It's on streams. Midas, you're so dedicated. My latest release. Wanted to dedicate that to you all at the beginning of our show. You heard it exclusively right here on No Shortcuts with Midas and Fame. With that being said, greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen out there in internet land. Joining us live right now on YouTube, or whether you're joining us on the replay via Spotify or Apple Music, we would like to welcome you. Episode 107, right?
Yeah. Welcome.
Episode 107. Today is October 1st. You know what I mean? 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, everybody. Come on, let us know who's here. Let us know who's here.
We got Barrett Groover here joining us. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And while you're here, if it's your first time, ladies and gentlemen, hey, Mom, perfect attendance, gold star recipient. Yeah, thank you so much, Mom. I love you. She's been here for every episode, ladies and gentlemen. Even if she can only stay for a few moments, she will make a comment. The travel people, shout out to Juan. I talked to Juan briefly on the phone before I got ready. Thank you so much, Juan, for everything that you do, for our community. We're talking about you in the green room. It was all good. You know what I mean? Robin Barbie's here in the Barbs. Hello. Who else we got here? So we can say hello and give you a nice little shout out before we proceed into the proceedings.
Good to see you all. Good to see you all. We're glad you're here. Tell somebody else to join.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, feel free to share this on your respective pages or shoot it directly to a few friends.
Welcome.
And please don't leave here today, whether you be on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. Don't leave without hitting the subscribe button. Do like me, subscribe to all three. I'm gonna come up with a t-shirt. Do like me, subscribe to all three.
Let's do it. Put it
That's
on
gonna be our new merch.
Shout out to the All About Nothing, podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
For the first time. I like the logo as well. That's I like it.
Nice. That's kind of like that's Looney Tune-ish, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I saw a putty cat. I did.
Well, here we are.
You know what I mean? Hey, man, you know the vibes on Tuesday. You know the vibes, Come on in. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you guys for taking an hour out of your day, whether you at your lunch hour, whatever you have going on, whether you're at work or at home. We count it not robbery for you guys. You didn't count it robbery, excuse me, for you guys to come here and hang out with us for the next hour. So you know how we do every Tuesday. And if this is your first time, this platform, ladies and gentlemen, is designed to discuss the ideal ideas of entrepreneurship. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, a lot of things that we discuss uh, apply to life in general.
Yes.
Just different learning things that we can discuss, and we're here to motivate. Hopefully, someone who's on the cusp, of taking the next step into chasing their dreams, so to speak. Here to motivate and inspire you. And Famous and I, we get inspired from hanging out with you guys and learning something, valuable on a weekly basis. So we
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining us. Welcome, welcome all. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just trying to get my camera settings right. Something's looking weird. It might be just because I'm right in front of the window today. So I'm getting a
Okay, you got a
weird,
window seat.
getting a weird. I got a window seat, but I'm getting a weird glare behind me. But it's okay.
Oh
Um,
yeah, man. It's
yeah,
it's nice scenery.
yeah,
The sun is out because last week, Thursday, Friday, bro, it was a little rough in our area.
yeah, man. Yeah, it
You
was. We
know.
hope everybody is safe. We got some people, in the upstate area and the Asheville area.
Hmm.
I know they got hit pretty hard on the western part of
Yes.
North Carolina and the upstate of South Carolina. So we hope everyone's
Yes.
doing safe, being well. We actually have a couple weddings this weekend, man. One of them on Saturday, kind of in the upstate area, and the venue has no
Hmm.
power,
Wow.
and they not expecting it to be back by Saturday. So they're trying to
Wow.
get all, but they're not canceling. The couple's not canceling. They're trying to get everybody to
Mm.
get generators.
Oh
So
man.
my DJ that's doing that wedding, he hit me up yesterday saying, "Yo, they want me to get a generator and all this." So we're hoping it won't come to
Yeah.
that. Hopefully by Saturday it'll be
Yeah.
good.
Hopefully.
But
Hopefully. And
we got a
and prayers
rental.
to everybody out there in Asheville, man.
Yeah,
They got hit pretty bad.
yeah,
Our situation compared to theirs was just a drop in the bucket.
yeah.
Personally, I only lost power for a couple of hours on
Mm-hmm,
Friday. That's when I started on that song that you guys heard at the
mm-hmm.
top of the program. Started that while the power was out. I was working through my phone, and started it and knocked it out Friday night when I got back from the Mellow Groove show, man. So I
Yeah.
tried to use my time wisely. That's what we discussed here. And I didn't even get a chance to have church this past Sunday at Mount Dewell.
Oh
The,
wow.
the power was out. They were going to attempt to still have church on Sunday, but
Mm-hmm.
that was as of Saturday. And Sunday morning around 7:20ish, got a phone call saying
Mm-hmm.
that church was going to be canceled. My son's mother was without power Friday until I want to say late Saturday afternoon. So
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and prayers to everyone who dealt with any inconvenience or going through any hardship. I have seen a lot of people on social media, like my network of friends and associates, discussing a few people discussing taking supplies, water, different
Yeah.
things to Asheville. So kudos to all of you who are wanting to step up and do that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
It's a
And
great act of kindness. Great act of
speaking of that,
kindness.
Juan says that donations are being collected today throughout York County. Reach out to Juan. He has all the details of different partners that are collecting
Yeah.
donations for those affected by the storm and the hurricane and all that. So reach out to Juan at the Travel People, and he'll
Yes.
get you connected for sure.
Yeah, and check out
Anyway,
his podcast also, ladies and gentlemen, which is also produced by the gentleman on my left, DJ Famous.
hey,
Check out the Travel People
thank
podcast.
you, brother.
If you want to learn some tips and tricks and just general information about traveling, please check out the podcast and feel free to contact Mr. Juan Velasquez directly. He'll get you all squared away, even if
Yeah.
you a circle.
Get you squared away even if you're a circle. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
So I
man.
mean, aside from the storm, man, I know that hit a lot of things. Hey, did you have any cancel? I know you had Thursday was canceled
Well,
because you were
so
with me.
okay, so
Yeah,
real quick, because I wouldn't want to keep our guests waiting so
yeah,
long. So this is how God works, right? And when you got a network of friends, musicians, as it pertains to myself, that you can work with. So you had already asked me about Thursday's date. I had to turn it down initially because the chairman of the board was already booked. My own band, Mellow Groove, had a booking for Friday that I couldn't
mm,
do. initially because the chairman of the board had a booking. That Thursday and Friday, chairman of the board bookings got canceled. So I was blessed and fortunate to be able to reach back to my friends. I said, "Hey, Famous, if you need, hey, yo, Famous, hey, big man,
Hey, big dog. Hey, big dog.
hey, big dog, hey, if you need me Thursday, man, I'm available." You know what I mean? And you were gracious and kind enough. So I thank you, man, publicly for for allowing me to come work with you Thursday, and I was able to double back with my guys, Mellow Groove, Friday at the VFW. And you and I, of course, were at CCB Bistro and Vine on Thursday. Shout out to Shanali and Mindy. Yes. Shanali was on here a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, even when the power went out, you had a Bluetooth for an hour. You had a Bluetooth, and we was able to go in there and make it do what it do and get on back to the house. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, I was still packed from weddings, so I had my battery powered speaker on me, so I just had to go out, get that thing out the truck, and we kept rocking for that time.
Yeah, we had a good time, and I got 2 people to join No Shortcuts the community during the time while the power was out. So, we promote. We in promote mode, promo mode. Excuse me.
Always.
Yeah, working. Man.
Always.
Yeah,
working. Yeah. So let's get to our guest, man. Tell them about our guest.
Yes. Let's not keep him waiting any longer. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today came highly recommended from member of our community and a member of our group, Mr. Juan Velasquez. And after chatting with him briefly in the green room and before we came on here today, found out we had been in a couple of places at the same time. So it's crazy. Even in the song that played, it said only 6 degrees separates us. You know what I mean? 6 degrees keeps us separated, which is so true. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is a husband, father, longtime community organizer from Fort Mill, South Carolina. He's a reliability engineer by trade, but his passion for public service shines through as a candidate for South Carolina State House District 26. He's run for office before and continues to fight for progressive values like education reform, better infrastructure, and accessible health care. Whether it's working on a campaign or giving back to his community, his commitment doesn't stop. When the election cycle ends, it's a year-round hustle. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, make some noise at home, at work, if you can, for our special guest today, Mr. Matt Vilardebo.
Hey.
Hey, okay. That's the new applause. Yeah, that's the first time. Hey, this applause came with some music. That might be a first,
man.
You know.
Little Rihanna.
I like it.
Yeah, Matt, welcome. First of all, we thank you so much, man, for joining us today. When I reached out to you, I think a week or 2 ago, you were very timely in your responses, showed interest in wanting to come on and hang out with us today. So shout out to Juan and shout out to you, for accepting our invitation and coming on and getting us a little bit more familiar with you and your story. We appreciate you.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to James real quick. Mr. James F. Masters. Hello, community. James. Hey, James, get one of those wild cherry Pepsis for me.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead. James.
Yes. But nonetheless, Matt, thank you. We like to ask our guests before we get into the meat and potatoes of everything. Give us a little bit of background information about where you were born and raised and about your early childhood years as young Matt.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida. I'm actually adopted. So I was adopted by a Cuban American father. So I was raised, Hispanic largely. That was a big part of my culture and my home life. My grandparents, English was their second language. My dad speaks fluent Spanish. And, that's kind of given me some unique perspective on stuff. Yeah. As I got older, my friends would tease me. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Blood In, Blood Out. But they would always tease me and tell me I was the white guy from Blood In, Blood Out.
Oh man. Okay. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, that's a good
so
one,
so tell us a little bit about this guy from Blood In, Blood Out, because I haven't seen it. I'm trying to tie it all.
This is like an old school, like 90s Mexican gangster movie. And then there's like this half white cousin that like shows up from Chicago, and he ends up like taking over the whole Mexican gang out in LA.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, man. And I have some family down in Tampa. Matter of fact, the first time I ever went to a Publix grocery store was years ago down in Tampa. I think before they made their way up to where we are in South Carolina and whatnot. Tampa's a nice area.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it has its benefits, but there's a reason I left. So, and I don't plan on going back.
Okay. Are you a Buccaneers fan by chance?
Absolutely. I love all my Tampa sports franchises, Bucks, Lightning, and Rays all the way. Nothing could get me to switch out allegiance. Certainly not the Pampers.
Hey, you know what? Famous look, because I haven't been wearing my stuff, right? As of the last year or so. Which way I got to go? This way? Yeah. I pulled out one of the T-shirts.
I had my Tampa Bay shirt on yesterday, celebrating that victory over the dreaded Eagles.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Panthers,
Midas was afraid to wear his Panthers gear for the past
I haven't worn it in a couple years, man.
Yeah, now
I grabbed one out the closet today. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Again. It's a week-to-week thing. It's touch and go, But nonetheless, Matt, what were some of your interests as a kid? I guess you grew up what would be considered different than expected, but what were some of your interests as a kid? What were some things you were into?
So, like, growing up as a kid, I got into scouts at a young age, and I really stayed with that till I was about a sophomore in high school before.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So, those khaki short shorts just weren't bringing the women. I wanted them. And I kind of chose like the normal teenage path at that point, and, started, chasing chicks and wanting to do teenage stuff that scouts would maybe tarnish my reputation, if you were, as a bad boy.
I got you.
But music
basically. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And like music was also big for me growing up, man. Growing up in the 80s, I mean, that was like some of the best music around. I mean, listening to Michael Jackson and
for the first
time. Old Lionel Richie and even old, like I got big into heavy metal as I got older. So like listening to that old Motley Crue and Ozzy Osbourne and stuff like that back when I was a kid was just huge for me.
Yeah, little Guns N' Roses, perhaps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that was high school, man. High school, everything high school was where I discovered hip hop. I had never really liked rap or hip hop until I was like a freshman in high school. And then it was actually a heavy metal band I loved called Anthrax got me listening to Public Enemy.
Yes.
Public Enemy lit that fire in me. I started reading books and like chasing down these these historical figures that Chuck D was talking about. And I mean, that was like, and then, we had so much great hip hop in the 80s. I love that East Coast hip hop a lot. LL Cool J, Tribe Called Quest, and De La Soul. And even like White Boy at like third base, I was big on.
The Gas Face. Y'all don't know about the Gas Face out there at home. Google that.
Yep. And growing up in Florida, we had this guy called Magic Mike over in Orlando. So I had like a killer stereo system in my car, and he did like bass rap. So I love Magic Mike.
So even before the movie Magic Mike, there was it was DJ Magic Mike, right? Magic Mike, all the bass.
DJ Magic Mike drops the record.
I had forgotten about that. He's the original Magic Mike.
That's right. That's right.
DJ we digress a lot, but we always reel it back in.
Juan says that your campaign theme song should be "Welcome to the Jungle."
That's Guns N' Roses and Paradise City. Those are two of my faves. Guns N' Roses early on. I think I was maybe in, I don't know what grade I was in, maybe 4th or 5th grade, maybe something like that. But yeah. So I'm assuming. Just by some of the music that, and you commented on a post I made earlier in the No Shortcuts community, how music was so important to you and everything. But I'm just curious, did listening to Public Enemy influence you anyway? I'm not trying to fast forward at all, but did that influence you in any way to like just where you are today with politics and everything like that? and being socially conscious?
Without question. I started to my parents are great parents, but they didn't like really raise us to be socially conscious, and we didn't get like the proper sort of like racial upbringing we should have, if you were. So like it really was like an epiphany listening to them for me, and it just kind of like laid the groundwork. I developed that empathy and like began to see the world as a bigger place and understand, the diversity that exists. And I got big into Rage Against the Machine in college. So that was I'd say Rage and Public Enemy were probably the two bands that really pushed me towards politics hardcore. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in political science, even though it took me 30 years to get involved in politics. I work as an engineer. But I mean, PE definitely laid the groundwork. Chuck was always dropping knowledge. He wasn't singing about booties and, smoking blunts and drinking 40s. He was like bringing some facts and, talking about Black empowerment. And, it was just like a whole new world for this little ginger kid from a suburb of Tampa.
Man, that's the beauty of music.
Because I saw them.
Absolutely.
I saw Public Enemy on the some award show, MTV Awards, recently, a few weeks ago, and Chuck D looks and sounds exactly the same.
The same,
And
he looks fantastic. I mean, he's like in his 60s. He's well into his 60s, I would say, at this point. And I mean, he looks like he did in 1989 still.
I was blown away. I was like, "Oh, that's my guy right there. I love it. That's gold."
Yeah. Hopefully, it's the music that keeps us young. A secret fountain of youth, perhaps. So
I'm 51, and nobody ever would guess that. You're as old as you act, and it's not always about how you look. So
exactly. Just like I get that a lot as well. People don't realize how old I am, but just like Chuck D, Matt, you got later on. You got your second. Like you said, you got into politics later on. Chuck D was in radio before he got on. Before he was a rapper, he was just a radio DJ, and then he found. He found another way to express himself, just like you did. You found something later on. You got back into politics.
And so I'm assuming when you went to college, you studied engineering.
No, not at all. So my dad is an engineer by trade, and I grew up working under his tutelage. And I just that was very like the kind of engineering we do. It's like industrial environments, and it like wore me out going to power plants and cement factories and chemical factories and all these like really toxic places. It was hard work, and it was like that show Dirty Jobs every day of my life for 20 years. And
for how many
I just
years?
wanted to get away from that. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been in this industry for 30 years, but I've fortunately been working in facilities for 5, so I haven't had to go back to any of them toxic places in about 5 years.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
But sorry.
I said it sounds like a lot of hard work.
Hell yeah. I mean, the hardest of the hard work, short of like being a trash guy back before they had the little auto arm trash trucks,
Yeah. Wow. So it was like more of a family business or trade, and that you kind of just gravitated toward, I guess, in a natural, organic type of way, considering your dad was involved in that type of business.
Yep, and my dad has that great American story. He grew up in abject poverty on the streets of Ybor City in Tampa. He's the son of 2 cigar factory workers, and he built a successful engineering firm himself without a degree in engineering, and really was like a true entrepreneur, like the kind of guy who like blazed a trail in a whole industry. So, and today's his birthday, incidentally. So happy birthday, Dad. I know you're probably not listening, but
Libra season, Libra
Happy
season.
84th, Dad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
happy
mine's
belated
next week.
dad.
Shout out to all the Libras and shout out to Matt's dad. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You know, back in the day, which reminds me of my dad, and oftentimes I find similarities with guests coincidentally, but my father owned his own business initially without college degree or anything. I guess it was just back then it was more about the relationships and the people you knew, and you could get certain things done. Certain people in position could assist with becoming established. As my brother, what's up, bro? Former guest of the community. His name is Matt too. Yeah, smooth sales in the house. But yeah, but back then you could kind of, you didn't have a degree necessarily to accomplish your dreams. So but I would assume you seeing it firsthand is what kind of gave you the inspiration to follow your dreams as well.
Yeah, and I knew, the industry I'm in, you can really do a lot in it with some effort. So
Mhm.
I have the soft skills, if you were. There's a lot of engineers that can't really interact with people very well, and
Mhm.
that's something that I have. And so I
Mhm.
was able to kind of parlay that and to get myself out of the field and out of that technician role and kind of
Mhm.
transition more into program management and leadership. And
Awesome.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like one of the reasons I'm so glad to be on this podcast is I can talk about stuff like the amount of hustle and sacrifice that goes in to being able to do something like that. I didn't have
Uh-huh.
the luxury of, hey, I get a 6-figure job and I just get that. I had to like
Mhm.
go fight for a real salary to provide for my family. And to do that, I had to travel a lot. So I had to give up
Mhm.
time with my family and my kids. I had to miss stuff that other parents get to see.
Yeah.
And that was just what I had to give up to gain. I always have like little Mattisms, and one of them is sacrifice yields rewards.
Mm. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that man, and and then nothing is free, as they say. Nothing is free, and
Hmm.
heavy is the head of he who wears the crown. Sometimes, which means like
Absolutely.
the greater the risk, the greater the reward, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You don't get a big reward sitting on the couches of do nothing.
Yeah, correct. And I mean,
Just do nothing.
I as recently as 4 months ago, I got terminated from an employer out of the blue on a Friday afternoon. I mean, there's like your good example of great risk comes great, tragedy.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
my path to success is paved with failures. I haven't, everything I attempt to do hasn't worked out for me.
Right.
And that's really, to me, that's how you like know the true measure of a human is how they handle failure. We're all
Yeah.
gracious in success. It's easy to take a victory lap, right? But
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you handle that moment of failure, whether it's through your own fault or through absolutely no fault of your own,
Hmm.
which is what
Mm-hmm.
happens sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
fail. And
Yes.
managing that process, that really, that's where the iron sharpens iron moment kind of
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah. That's where you build your character.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of
Absolutely.
your story, Matt, is kind of the inspiration of this show and why we
Mm-hmm.
named it what we did and what our goal is. There's no shortcuts. There's no, like you say, there's no waking up and just landing that 6-figure job. You
No.
usually have to, put your boots on and get out there and work. And even if you are, trying to be an entrepreneur or a musician, you got to put in those hours of work. You got to, get
Yep.
turned down. You got to go to the club and they tell you, nah, we're not hiring. We got to go through all of these things. Oh, we don't need any
Mm-hmm.
more entertainers to build that character and to get to ultimately where you want to go. And I think you're a great testament to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And like clearing my mind of all that like doubt, I'm not qualified, this isn't for me. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Being ready, that's like a tough one. I always love talking to the youth about being ready. I always tell them never wait for the older generation to come tap you on the shoulder and go, your time is now. That is never coming. Usually the
No.
older generation digs in and never wants
Yeah.
that to happen. So
Got to
like
take it
Right.
from
look
them.
for your opportunities and seize them. Go make your spot,
Yeah.
Life doesn't work out like a documentary or like a movie. Life works out rough. And like you guys say with the name of the podcast, there are no shortcuts. The road to
Yeah.
success is the road less traveled. It is not paved smoothly. The road to success is like the interstates in South Carolina. It's
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
chew
Yeah.
up all your tires.
Especially in Asheville right now, and something I took from Mr. Verdine White of Earth, Wind, and Fire, something he used to say all the time in 2020. He used to have this saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
So just stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I took that from him. Shout out to Verdine. Shout out to Shelly. Spoke to Shelly a little earlier this morning. Famous, can you push your microphone up just a little bit more? I'm just gauging the balance between the two. Your volume.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
How about
yeah,
now?
yeah. Okay. So Matt, when did you become interested in politics though? From engineering and all of the hard manual labor and earning an honest living and doing all you had to do, sacrificing time away from your family. Did that all come into play as you became passionate about politics and getting involved in something else?
Well, so like I have always had like involvement on some level with politics, even dating back to college. But usually it was like just volunteering, helping knocking doors, maybe phone banking and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But really, when I first ran for office, that was 3 years ago when I ran for Fort Mill Town Council.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um, I saw everybody running unopposed in a town council election, and it was just like frustrating to me.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
knew I stood no chance of winning that election, but it was
Mm-hmm.
just an
The
opportunity to
extreme.
like provide a voice and
Mm-hmm.
get some experience and see, wet my beak in it, if you were. And
Mm.
after that, I got crushed.
Wow.
But
Yeah. But you came
I
back.
knew immediately. I knew immediately after that that state house seat that I'm currently running for and that I ran for 2 years ago would be next on my list of things to go do.
Yeah. Now, do you know Councilman William Bump Roddy by chance? He's a
Oh,
good
I
friend
know
of mine.
Bump very well.
Yeah.
He's been he's been on our program also. Yeah, man, that's awesome. And so we got a
Yep,
lot of
I
people in
saw that.
common, Matt. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
I'm
saw
sorry.
that Bump was a guest. He's like, when I looked at your YouTube, that all I saw were like little snippets from Bump's
Ah,
interview.
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
had a good time with him. And great guy as well, man. I've had the opportunity to play some of his events in the past. So I guess now we're gonna have to play one of your events
Yeah.
upcoming, and then I'll complete
Absolutely.
the hat trick. They call me Hat Trick Swayze. Yeah. Yeah, but
so
nonetheless, go ahead,
so
famous.
Matt, was there something specific going on in Fort Mill at the time that inspired you to take a look, and that's where you found that those seats were, running unopposed, and you wanted to put your name in there? Like, what led to that?
So that was in 21. 20 was the COVID year, and the
Yeah.
in the year we had to watch George Floyd get killed in the
Hmm.
streets,
Yep.
and that like really just kind of changed me. I knew it was like time for some action and time to like bring that like voice of like progressive realism to the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So it was there was that it was a lot of growth in Fort Mill, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it's managed well. I know that there's a lot of interest and desire by sort of the powers that be in Fort Mill to like keep things local, if you were, with
Yeah.
leadership.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit concerned that talent pool's getting too shallow. And
Mm.
so I thought it would be a good opportunity to bring like a new voice to the table. I mean,
Hmm.
I feel like that's not constructive, this sort of locals only mentality, and it doesn't
Yeah.
seek to move us forward.
Yeah. I'm
So
with you there.
I thought I would be like that example, show people, hey, Fort Mill, won the lottery when my family moved here.
Hmm.
Mm.
I don't mean that ego, just like we're a good family and we
Yeah.
bring something
Yeah.
to the town. We're just not like, residents. So, my wife's a school teacher. Both my kids went through the public school system here. My daughter serves in the Navy currently.
Yeah.
My son is editor in chief at Winthrop University school
Oh,
newspaper.
yeah. I
Um,
graduated Winthrop. Wow.
yeah, so my family is part of the fabric of York County. We're part of the fabric of Fort Mill. So
Mm.
I just wanted to be able to get up and demonstrate and say, "Hey, here I am. I stand here unafraid and unintimidated." And
Yeah.
it's worked. I've been able to get a lot of support from folks, and people are starting to see, my years of effort,
Mm.
and they appreciate that. Unfortunately, it doesn't always translate into winning elections,
Sure.
but
Right.
the attitudes are changing, and I'm a firm believer you do that by setting the example to be followed. Lip service won't help. You gotta like give
Mm.
up time and go like put in that work around town, volunteer at town functions. I
Good.
did a
Yeah.
big toy drive back
Yeah.
in Christmas of 22 that
Mm.
went straight into the Paradise community in Fort Mill. Those, a lot of toy drives, those toys leave and go somewhere else, which isn't a bad thing, but
Hmm.
it's an
Hmm.
even better thing to do these efforts where they
Yeah.
directly benefit our children in need right here where we live.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important. And what you're describing is very similar to the town that I live in, where when you say it's all old school people that
Mm.
born and raised here have all the town council, and it's just the same six
Yeah.
people. It's the same six people that you see doing every little thing.
6 people.
And I was very interested in, because my wife and I have talked a lot about being more involved in the since we moved here now 5 years ago, you know, kind of changing that perspective, like what you did. So I'm very interested in what that looked like to start out, and what were some of the steps that were taken. So I'm hearing that you were doing a lot of community kind of
Yeah.
events and drives, just to kind of
Yeah,
get your face in
I'm
front of
big on
people.
like grassroots sort of campaigning, knocking
Hmm.
doors, showing up at
Hmm.
every single town function that I can walk in the gate, and just interacting with people. A lot of conversations on front porches. I knocked
Yeah.
about 6,000 doors by myself
Wow.
2 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
That's great,
and
man.
I built, people know me and they like me because I do show up at their front porch. I hear a lot of,
Hmm.
I've lived here
Hmm.
for 20 years and nobody that's run for office has ever come to my house.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
we do have some great, I know I ran for town council, but I do want to be clear. We got some great town council persons, and they also are like big believers in grassroots sort of
Hmm.
campaigning.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We do have like some elected officials here that get it. They understand the importance of like interacting with people. I mean, we even have people that run unopposed and still go knock doors, and they don't have to do that, but they
Yeah.
choose to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important to keep in mind. But it's so frustrating being here because so many people run unopposed. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me. I mean, a lot of these
Right.
folks could be easily unseated. I mean, most of them just are
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
empty headed. And if
Why do
you
you
could
think that
like give
is?
them some opposition,
Yeah. Why do you
I
think that
think
is,
people
Matt?
are, and I mean, clearly I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The last, 10
Don't
to 8
sugarcoat
years here, have seen a sort of like complete like sullying of our like great democracy. And
it.
like
Mm.
it was meant to be enriching to your life and your soul to be involved in community and politics beyond just
Mm.
being a voter. And now
Mm.
it's like, gross and detestable. People
Yeah.
call me a politician all the time when they meet me.
Hmm.
And,
Really?
nobody wants to be involved. And like,
Yeah.
they think it's so dirty with money and things like that. And
Mm.
it's not. I mean, the process is if you think you're going to get rich running for office, I would
Right.
challenge you to test that assertion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Famous. They
um,
already said famous. Travis 2025.
Yeah. And Juan
Mm.
for mayor in 26.
There you go. Yeah. So it's probably
Yeah.
it's probably a little bit of fear has to do with it. I would assume, kind of put, because you have to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
right? And it could get,
yep. And
and I will say, my uncle ran for sheriff, and he had to run twice, sheriff of Chesterfield County. And my mother and a lot of my family were on the campaign committee. My mother headed his campaign committee, but I was involved just doing minor stuff, sharing things. I went back to my hometown of Sherrall, South Carolina during that time. I remember us being at the church making phone calls. They set it up where they had people designated to go pick people up who didn't have transportation to go to the polls. And it's a lot of hard work. And I remember my uncle at the time, same thing you're saying, going to a lot to schools, communities, this function, that function, and which is so important because you're getting to know the people on a person-to-person basis and making them feel comfortable. They can share their concerns with you. You can give them some feedback, which in turn could help convince them or help you earn. I would say earn their vote when it's time to hit the polls. But it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
No, and not everybody that runs for office is highly capable in that area. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't run just because you're not a comfortable public speaker or you're maybe have a touch of issue walking up to strangers and talking to them. There's a role for you in the grand scheme of things. Again, people running unopposed have earned nothing. They've just slapped their name on something and paid a filing fee, and they're handed something on a silver platter that they didn't have to earn.
Yeah, earn
and
is
that's
the key word, I
that's
believe.
my biggest thing. I would like these folks to go earn it. Show us that you're made of the stuff we need you to be made of. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's all good.
This whole, I am who I am, or my name happens to be on a street here in town. That doesn't cut it for me.
I'm and there. I kind of think about that movie, The Distinguished Gentleman, where the guy passed away, but he just that name. People just used to voting for that name. So if you have that name, they'll just keep on voting. Oh, yep, William Jefferson. Yep, there you go. We're voting for William Jefferson because we always do.
Yeah. He Thomas' cousin anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, man. But that's interesting. So I guess you would. And I guess I'm guessing, but would you say you just have to have a passion to want to see change or be involved in the community in order to, that would be the first thing you need to possess in order to get out there and run for certain offices and things of that nature.
Correct. You need to be the kind of person that is a change agent or somebody that drives something to a finish. If you're clearly disorganized or a type B or C personality, this probably isn't the best role for you.
Yeah. So we might inspire someone today, who's watching.
I hope so, man. We need it desperately in York County.
Yeah. And York County is a beautiful place. I love it here in York County. I once I graduated Winthrop in 2001, I've been around ever since, and thankfully my resources have been all within this area. I've been able to pursue my dreams and do what it is I love based off of the resources right around here, which is great. We're pretty close to Charlotte as well. If you need to go to the city to handle any kind of little, ins and outs, and you come right back to York County.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
Man, that's awesome.
And some of the best years of my life have been lived right here in York County. I mean, I came here for a reason. We chose this place. So I want to be here. I wasn't lucky enough to be born here, unfortunately, but even more importantly, I picked this place, and I feel like this place picked me. It was almost like it was calling out to the whole family, hey.
Yeah. I'm curious. What were your deciding factors before you chose York County, Fort Mill areas more specifically, which is a lovely area?
So I got a job offer to move up here to work at the paper mill down in Catawba. Okay. And we were looking in Charlotte also, around Valentine and Pineville. And when the wife came up to actually look, I had to come up here a few months before her to start the job. So when she came up to actually look at houses with me, she, being a teacher, researched schools and information, and she was like, it's either Fort Mill or nothing. So we took all the houses. I mean, I printed them and like threw them all away. And there wasn't a whole lot rental wise in Fort Mill, but we started looking in Fort Mill. We even got a realtor to help us with rental properties. And we've been in the same rental house since we moved here in 2017. And, that's we get
awesome.
4 seasons here. We get, the cost of living is less than Florida. Electric bill significantly less. Water bill, rent is less. Gas is cheaper. So, I mean, but there's a trade-off. I'm driving on some of the worst roads in the country.
Man. I tell you, always some road work going on, huh?
That's what Juan said.
Living in a state that's been plagued by 20 years of single-party rule with like no creative legislation ever. So, there's some trade-offs to coming here, but overall, I love it. I wouldn't go back and do it any different. We love living in Fort Mill. Fort Mill has great schools, unlike the rest of our state, which struggles. So we were very fortunate. My wife was very fortunate to get a teaching position with the Fort Mill schools. So
sounds like it was meant to be, man. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about because I know you mentioned in the bullet points you sent me about like education reform and accessible healthcare. Would you like to speak on those couple of things?
So, when I'm talking about education reform, I'm talking about not taking money away from public schools. We just saw a news report come out showing the abject failure of the school voucher system in Arizona. Okay. Our lawmakers in the state are obsessed with vouchers, giving public dollars to kids to go to private schools. There's not enough demand to warrant something like that, and I just don't understand the logic of taking taxpayer dollars and giving it to for-profit private institutions.
Right.
And accessible healthcare. We're in a bit of a crisis in this state. Something that folks don't really talk about or know much about outside of York County is we have 14 counties in this state where no OBGYN will practice. This is dangerous. People will die, and this adversely affects our communities of color, our Black communities, our Mexican communities.
Yeah,
and this is something that needs to end. This is what's being done in the name of, taking away a woman's access to abortion. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on such a divisive topic. I feel like people should be able to go visit the doctor without having the governor and the 2 houses of Congress in the waiting room with them. So I feel like folks should be left alone. And I feel like we should create an environment where where it's reflective of the concern we have for our citizens. And 14 counties with no OBGYN is not reflective of that.
Right.
So how do we fix it? Like, if you're elected,
we elect people who understand the need for restoring people's true freedoms, their personal freedoms. And that's the only way. I mean, we have one party that's been in charge in this state for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
And we're trying to just bring a voice, a little bit of plurality, some parity, whatever you want to call it, balance to the force. We lack balance in this state, and it shows. And I feel the same way about like a state like California that languishes under single party rule from another side.
Yeah.
So there's better ways to govern, and just having one group of folks calling all the shots stifles creativity, stifles progress, and doesn't allow for like that sort of meeting of the minds and figuring out the best path forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. That's very, very good information, because I didn't even know that, and like being a male, I guess I wouldn't know that primarily, but it's still good to hear that bit of information as it pertains to the females in York County, because at the least you want to be able to go somewhere, get a proper checkup, some proper counsel and things like that. If you ever needed to, if you ever came to that bridge you needed to cross, but you want to have availability or accessibility, as you said, first and foremost.
Yep.
Wow.
And a lot of like OBGYN visits are urgent visits or emergency visits. They're not always appointments,
Right.
Again, it's tough to see that, and there's some other issues related to that. We have a very low infant mortality rate and a high maternal mortality rate, which are signs of a healthcare crisis in the state also.
Okay. Good way to put it. And ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if you have any questions that you want to ask Matt while we have him here, please type them in the comments because we will be wrapping in maybe 10 minutes or so. We don't want to take up his whole afternoon, so don't wait to the end to type your questions in.
Yeah, we do appreciate you being with us, Matt. And my other question, or one of my other questions, is in regards to just voter turnout. What are you seeing, and what's being done to help people, like what we mentioned earlier, like getting people to the polls and people who couldn't get there, and kind of helping when the other side sometimes make it harder for people to vote. What are you seeing out there being on the front lines, and how can we help that?
So I can tell you here in York County, and I really say throughout the state of South Carolina, we have like a really solid, honest, devoted, like election infrastructure. The York County election supervisor is incredible. They do a great job. And they provide that voter education aspect that you're talking about too. They remind people of deadlines, and they're very frequently involved in that. And at a state level, we do a really good job. scvotes.gov is a great website to go to if you want to know where you need to go to vote, where your early voting locations are at, and anything like that. I know that with the York County Democratic Party, which I'm heavily involved with, we've been keeping regular office hours and allowing people to come in and talk and get information as they need it. We've been out in the community in mass. I mean, like any little tiny event you see happening at some, any size church from small, medium to large, you'll probably see somebody from the YCDP tabling that. With a lot of voter information. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we do probably as a Democratic Party in the county is register voters.
Yeah.
And like at community functions. I mean, if you obviously, Rock Hill Pride, you're only going to see one political party there. But if you go to other functions where we're tabling, you don't see that other side there encouraging voter participation like you do us. That's huge. And getting people to actually vote is that next step. And that's where we kind of struggle sometimes is we get people to register, but getting the souls to the polls is a struggle.
The souls to the polls. Yeah. That's incredible, man. And Matt, are you taking any donations? Because we know it's not free to run a campaign.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
is there somewhere people could go if they want to make any donations in support of your campaign?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to do that is to head to my website. It is matt4sc.com.
Get it put up.
All the fundraising links are there.
Okay.
And absolutely. I mean, we're in crunch time. All the big bills are coming due now that we're headed towards Election Day. Digital advertising, mail pieces, the last little push of yard signs and crap like that. So it's money season when it comes to running for office. So absolutely, we've seen brisk fundraising with our campaign this election year, due in large part to the changes at the presidential ticket. So folks are excited and they're looking forward to voting. A lot of folks are really excited to see somebody that looks like them running for president.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will, just speaking back on the donations, you guys have to have gas to get to and fro where you're going. These yard signs aren't free. While you're traveling, you probably got a staff or a few people, a team that's traveling with you. You guys got to be able to get a bite to eat. And that's just off the top of my head, So, these running for office, it's not free, man. It costs a little money. It's a dedication, and you're committing your time and your efforts to a vision that you see as far as a better place where you're living and things like that. So we just
Right.
want to say those, if you're in support of Matt, if you feel like contributing, feel like be a blessing to this young man. Be a
Yeah,
blessing to this young
absolutely.
man.
And it's not cheap, and it's not like he's going to become a millionaire once he gets elected either. This man still has a job, you know.
Yeah, still has a
Yeah, no,
job.
I have a full-time job. I won't
Yeah.
be, I'll have to move into a more of a contractor role with my employer if
Sure.
when I'm elected, but I'll still,
Yeah.
need to work in addition to fulfilling my legislative duties. I am not independently wealthy by any stretch. I'm not an attorney or
Hmm.
a businessman or somebody whose family has owned half of
Right.
the county.
Right.
Yeah.
Not me.
Right.
You're passionate about how you see the area in which you live in, and you want to use your voice to make a difference.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting back
Yes.
and complaining,
Yeah.
we
Exactly.
we
Typing
know
away at the
nobody.
keyboard.
Say what now? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we know nobody who's watching No Shortcuts and just sitting
No.
back complaining and not
Yeah.
doing anything about it.
We're not just complaining on
We
the
don't
internet, are we?
associate. Yeah, we don't associate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, and what if they want to follow you on social media? How can anyone follow you, keep up with your whereabouts, or as we get a little closer to election time, the different events, activities you may have going on?
So I'm on all social media platforms. Just search Matt V4SC or Matt Vilardebo for South Carolina. If you Google me, it pulls me up as a politician. So
Yeah.
Is that a
I'm
forecast?
not hard
Is that
to
a, is
I'm
that a
not hard to
prediction?
find. And you can get all my social media on my website. I don't want to go predicting nothing like that.
Right, I got you, man. Yeah. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that you wanted to cover that we may not have addressed just yet that you want to, make sure that everybody knows as we wind down?
So something my campaign does is we knock doors. And so every Saturday we meet at Steel Street Park in the Paradise community here in Fort Mill at 10:30 in the morning to head out and go do door knocking. We
Uh-huh.
have varying stages of attendance for that. But if anybody listening or wants to directly help, show up at Steel Street Park every Saturday between now and Election Day. Somebody will be there to give you a turf packet to go knock doors and tell the world, tell the community that
Yeah.
strong progressive leadership is here and we can send it to Columbia to truly represent all of Fort Mill.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And that Saturdays at what time?
10:30.
10:30 a.m.
10:30. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Most Saturdays I'm out and about on the road, traveling to go play concerts and stuff. But I'm gonna keep that in mind if I happen to get a free Saturday. I know October's kind of jammed, but I'm gonna look at my calendar, see what I may be able to do. If not, I'm definitely supporting from afar. Yeah. But that's great, man. For any of those who may
Appreciate that.
feel led to participate and assist Matt in person. They're meeting every Saturday at 10:30. Is there any questions that we need to get to?
No questions. I did want to say, All About Nothing podcast. Appreciate you
Oh
chiming in
yeah.
and being a part of the show
Do we know
today.
who
And I
that
have
is?
to. That's Matt.
That's Barrett.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, okay.
Barrett, my campaign manager.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Okay.
have to.
Yeah, the guy you were telling us about.
Right. We're
That's
gonna have
right.
to
Yeah.
follow him.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, we got a link.
Follow that podcast as well because
So,
I had an
so
idea
Barrett
about
has a
podcast about nothing.
podcasting empire.
Yeah. Barrett, holla at us.
Yeah. Let's do
We
a
need
home
to
and
link
home.
up and do something.
Let's do a home
we
and
need-
home, Barrett.
Yeah. Let's do it, man. And Barrett, if you're on Facebook, feel free to check us out. No Shortcuts, the community. Feel free to join our Facebook community. We're approaching 800 members over there, and mostly everyone who's here with us live today is also in that community. Do a variety of things, whether you make music, whether you're a DJ, you're a mobile bartender, you have a internet-based business, whatever the case. I have a variety of people over there. Let's you go over there and network, man. Feel free to post and let us know a little bit, more about you. And that's what we're trying to do here. No shortcuts.
I do have one other question.
Yeah, and I'll be recording an appearance on the All About Nothing podcast tomorrow, which will be dropping hopefully in the next week.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
and post that in No Shortcuts, the community, when it's ready.
We'll follow. We'll follow,
Thank
and
you.
we're all gonna follow the No Shortcuts podcast here on YouTube. Also follow the All About Nothing podcast and the Travel People podcast and
Yeah.
Women Worth in Weddings.
Women worth in weddings. And after you follow
Follow
all
all
these
those things.
podcasts,
Yeah.
cancel your cable.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
you won't have time. You ain't got time to watch regular TV,
Yeah.
But you can listen. You can get the
Hey, and
listening
real quick,
experience.
if I could just say real quick before we
Of
close,
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Matt Vilardebo is the only politician running in
Right.
South
Run the
Carolina
jewels.
that is wearing a Run the Jewels
Hey.
Right,
T-shirt.
man. I
Yeah.
love it.
That's Killer Mike, right? Killer
I
Mike.
love it. And LP, yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it, Matt. I love it. That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
man.
Right,
Hey, Matt.
DJ, baby.
Matt,
Yeah, that's awesome,
I have
man.
an idea. I was telling Midas the other day that I'm actually going to be remaking this most recent LL Cool J album. I'm going to be remaking that album and using all of LP's beats from like Run the Jewels. I'm taking all of the beats off
Oh,
of
that
it.
would
I'm
be
going to use
sweet.
all of LP's beats. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
working on that
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure we hear it when it's done. Now we holding you to it. You didn't set
No,
it
you
live on
probably
the air.
won't. Yeah, I probably
You know
won't.
what I mean?
Be right here.
He done,
Be
he,
right here in the headphones.
he done committed himself,
I
ladies and
know.
gentlemen. We're
That's why
gonna
you
look
do it.
forward to it. Yeah,
Put it out
yeah.
into the atmosphere. Now I have to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
I never did make the Run DMC The Jewels album, so this one I'm gonna actually have to do.
There you go. There you go. And Matt, for what it's worth, I was in student government in high school.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, for a year. It was hard work. Did you know what I mean?
I was student
Yeah.
government president my senior year.
So you started. You got getting your feet wet earlier and getting the passion and everything for where you are today. This has been a great show, fellas. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Barrett. So Mr. Barrett's commenting on 2 accounts right now. He's
subscribed
very
on 2
talented.
accounts. I like that. That's what I do. I have 4 different YouTube
Barrett's
accounts.
multitasking.
I'm gonna subscribe on all 4 of mine.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You guys want to make any announcements about what you have coming up before we dismiss here today?
With me, I have.
I'm good.
Hey man, this is a wacky wedding weekend.
Wacky. Whoa, say
Yeah,
that
it's
3
all-
times fast.
It's all hands on deck, man. I have one where we got a band performing, one with DJ Josh where he needs a generator probably. I'll be
down in Charleston.
Nah, it's gonna be in Belton.
But Josh
So
from
he's-
Charleston.
Yeah, Josh from no,
Stick.
Josh from Columbia. No, not that.
Oh, okay. Got them mixed up.
And
Okay.
then I'll be I forget which one I'm gonna. Oh, I'll be in Monroe. I'll be in Monroe at the one in Monroe at the Grand Victorian.
Okay.
So yeah, we have 4 weddings. 4 weddings this Saturday. I have one
That
this
Famous
Thursday.
is spearheading.
Yeah.
Famous is spearheading 4 weddings, y'all. If y'all getting married out there, you need somebody
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean, coordinate your event. Coordinate. You gotta get this
I have
guy.
one wedding on
Yeah.
Thursday this week, and then 4 on Saturday. So that's what we're doing. What about you?
Sheesh. Yeah, man. Let's see. Thursday, Brandon Stevens and I will be representing Mellow Groove right here in Rock Hill, South Carolina for Savor the Flavor, sponsored by Max Abilities, which is a big fundraiser. But the fundraiser also incorporates many food vendors coming out. It's at the White Home. So they'll have food fundraiser. We're in the entertainment for the
Shout out to
evening.
Matt
That's
Starnes, the hospitality butler.
Yeah. I'm gonna see our guy. What's his name right off? I can't think
Matt
of his name right
Starnes.
off.
Matt Starnes.
Matt Starnes. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll get a
that's
chance
my
to
guy.
see former guest of the platform as well. I'll get to see Matt this week. Friday, the chairman of the board and the executives have a private event in Washington, North Carolina. Saturday, we stay over and go to Shikori Hills, which is a big festival out there, man. It's music and stages everywhere. It's kind of hippie-ish. It's out there in the dust and grass that houses. Like people set up all weekend. It's going on from the 3rd to the 6th, but we play on the 5th. I think our show time is at 3:30. We did it last year. It's a lot of fun. I mean, even at the houses that are on the grounds, there's little bands set up on the porches, music everywhere, vendors everywhere. And then so we do that Saturday. Sunday, I should be at Mount Dewell Baptist Church, long as the power comes back on and everything like that. And man, then it's time to run it back, hit the reset button, and reconvene next week. So not much.
Not much. Not much.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's up. We want to
yeah.
thank our guest, Mr. Matt Vilardebo, for
Yeah, he's
joining
got to
us.
give. Yeah, Matt. Before we let you get out of here, we certainly thank you, but we always ask our guests before we leave if there's somebody out there who's listening and they may be passionate about something or have a dream to do something. What's a bit of advice that you would give them to nudge them to take the next step?
Man, just like stay goal focused. Don't lose sight of what you're working towards. Setbacks happen and we get waylaid, but the effort is always within you, and if you keep pushing for that goal, you'll get there.
Awesome, awesome.
Perfect, man.
And with that being said, we want to finally one more time thank Mr. Matt Vilardebo. That's it. I'm messing it up
Vilardebo.
now. But
Vilardebo.
Vilardebo, excuse me. See, I had it at first. It's slipping away from me. We live. But we want to thank him for joining us again today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for all your time hanging out with us and commenting. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to everybody Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music. Thank you guys so much. We're going to get on out of here. Everybody have a blessed week, rest of the day, and be safe. Be safe out there. And let's do this again next Tuesday. Matt, stay on the line. We'll say goodbye to you separately. Peace and love, everybody.
I'm going to end it off by giving
Bye,
him
y'all.
his intro music again.
Yeah. Yes, sir.